Honorable Minister, Colonel Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security, Member of Parliament, JP, Dr. Winston Adams, our founder, Chief Executive, Chairman of UCC and the Spectrum Groups, who is online, Mrs. Geraldine Adams, Deputy Group Executive Chairperson, UCC Group of Companies, who is also joining us online, Professor Colin Giles, CD, our President of UCC, Professor Bernadette Warner, PhD, Deputy President of the UCC, Dr. Yvonne Dawkins, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Academic Administration at UCC, Dr. Sheila Paul, Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, all members of the media, members of the Board of Directors, heads of department, members of faculty, staff, students, prospective students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to our launch of our generic, homegrown doctoral programs at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. It is really a great pleasure to welcome you here today as we embark on this exciting journey. Our vision to provide broad-based educational opportunities through partnerships, flexible delivery modes, and financing in an environment where high standards, truth, respect, and dignity of the person are embraced. It reflects our commitment to academic excellence, innovation, and the advancement of knowledge. So this evening, we'd like to take you through our journey to this point where we're launching our program. But before we do so, we would like to invite the presence of the Lord. So I'd like to ask Mrs. Diane Boyd, Director of Administration and Student Affairs in the College of Graduate Studies and Research, to do the invocation.
Thank you, Dr. Sutherland. Shall we stand to invite the presence of the Lord here? Heavenly Father, we ask that you take charge of this evening's proceedings and that you bless all who are gathered here. We thank you for guiding us on this exciting journey that has brought us to the launch of UCC's Indigenous doctoral programs. We praise you for the minds you have given us for learning, for the ability to work and improve ourselves, for the determination to rise to the challenges before us. As we celebrate and share this notable achievement with each other this evening, we acknowledge you as a true educator and look towards the future of UCC's doctoral programs, praying that they will help to advance the hopes and dreams of students, our institution, and our nation, according to the plans you have for us. We pray a special blessing upon the lives and future endeavors of all those gathered here and online, all invited guests, leaders, staff and faculty, and prospective doctoral students. We ask for the blessing of Jabez, that the Lord will enlarge our territory, that his hand will be with us, and that he will keep us from all evil. May the God of heaven grant us all our requests on this special day, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Mrs. Boyd. Professor Colin Giles is an accomplished academic leader with over 30 years' experience in higher education. Professor Giles was among the first cohort of lecturers at the University of Technology, Jamaica, to attain the rank of professor. Professor Giles has an extensive record of service on governing boards and national committees related to science, technology, quality standards, and education policy in Jamaica. He has earned prestigious honors such as the National Honor of the Order of Distinction Commander Class in 2022 and the Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation for Service to Education in 2017. Holding a PhD in chemistry from the University of the West Indies, Professor Colin Giles has published research in leading international journals and delivered scholarly presentations worldwide. He remains actively involved in his professional communities, including memberships to the American Chemical Society American Association of Physics Teachers, and the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Professor Colin Giles as the fourth president of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean. And so please join me in welcoming Professor Giles as he welcomes us officially and provides opening remarks. Professor Giles.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sutherland. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all to this very important occasion. I would like to recognize Minister Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Member of Parliament, Justice of the Peace, and thank you so much for sharing your dear wife, Dr. Alicia Charles, with us, an integral part of UCC. Professor Bernadette Warner, our Deputy President, Professor John Fulton, who I understand is joining us online, our Research Director and Director of Doctoral Programs. Of course, our Founder and Group Executive Chairman, Dr. Winston Adams, and Mrs. Geraldine Adams, Group Deputy Executive Chair, members of the executive team, members of faculty or deans, staff members, students, colleagues, friends, all. A pleasant good evening to you all. Good evening. Indeed, I'm happy when I know that you're alive and showing vital energy. That is what we need for this occasion, which is a very celebratory one. It is indeed with great honor, my great honor and privilege, and a pleasure indeed, to welcome you all to this, the official opening of the UCC doctoral programs. The launch of these programs spells a significant step forward for the UCC. And I refer particularly to the launch of the Doctor of Business Administration degree, DBA, and the Doctor of Professional Practice, DPP. These doctoral programs we would have developed based on our collaboration with the University of Sunderland. Some of you would have been acquainted with the fact that we had similar programs offered here jointly with the University of Sunderland. But through the experience that we have garnered, we have developed our own indigenous programs that are not only recognized coming from an accredited university, but they have the standards and hallmarks of that which is marketable internationally and recognized as filling the need in terms of what is required in our local landscape. UCC has come a long way from the merger of two institutions, the IMS, Institute of Management Sciences, and the Institute of Management and Production, to form a university college, and later on to become a fully accredited university. And now we're launching our own doctoral programs. Now, this is very important for us because one of the benchmarks of a university is the offering of graduate degrees and carrying out research. We would have already been offering graduate degrees at the master's level, and so offering our own doctoral degrees is another milestone for us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we should appreciate that offering these programs is not just for the purpose of gaining additional recognition or for the purpose of enabling persons to gain higher degrees. The structure of our program helps to convey our vision and our purpose of training people to fill national needs. It is reflected in the fact that today the world of business requires persons who are not just experienced practitioners, but more and more, with the complexities of technology and the evolving nature of business, decisions have to be made based on research. And so more and more, businesses are recognizing the need for persons who are trained not only in understanding research, but in doing research themselves. And in fact, we have recognized that a lot of the data that goes into furthering the frontiers of knowledge have actually emerged from the workplace. So when we have persons who are trained in doing research in the workplace, they are able to harness data from their own experience to contribute to academic development in the training of others to come later on. Our doctoral programs have been carefully designed to meet these emerging demands. The program was born out of a deep sense of purpose to shape professionals who can impact not only national but regional development. We're very happy, Minister, that you have joined us, because we know that a part of your portfolio is to ensure that Jamaica's labor market is equipped to take Jamaica forward into the next era, to fulfill our national vision to make Jamaica by 2030 to be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We have all bought into that vision, and we are happy that we are playing our part in that process through the educational enterprise. I'd like to extend special gratitude to all those who have contributed to bringing these programs to fruition. Those who have worked in developing the curriculum, in reviewing it, those who have served at on various committees that have had the responsibility of reviewing and approving the program to ensure that it meets international standards and that it is fit for purpose in terms of the relevance to Jamaica and the wider stakeholder groups that we seek to provide for. Special commendation to those who have contributed to putting this event together. And in closing, I want to encourage us to mark this moment as the beginning of something extraordinary. A legacy of scholarship that all will continue to make a positive impact by being a part of this development. So once again, thank you all for being here this evening to mark this occasion. And I know by God's grace, that it will be a milestone that will long be remembered as it continues to make its mark and to strengthen UCC as the place of choice for academic studies, research, and scholarship. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Professor Giles, for those words of wisdom and encouragement as we begin our journey. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know, such a decision that brought us here today was not made by simply a snap of the fingers. It took years of planning and just to make sure that we get it right. And we would like to share that journey with you. So, Professor Bernadette Warner, Deputy President of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, she assumed the duties as Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs at UCC on September 28, 2016, following over 30 years of academic higher education administration and senior management experience. Since completing her doctorate in strategic management with distinction at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, she has developed a continuing academic record of effective teaching, student learning, and professional as well as community service, accompanied by an expanding research publication record. Professor Warner has been recruited to progressively more senior university leadership roles, beginning at the University of the West Indies and continuing at BPP University in the United Kingdom, as well as the Cardiff Metropolitan University's London School of Commerce campus during 2007 to 2012, where she led the doctoral program and successfully supervised students. She subsequently assumed leadership roles as department chair, associate dean, and then dean of the College of Business Administration at the American University in the Emirates, and was recruited by Al-Falfa University, also in Dubai, to serve as academic dean and vice provost in 2015. Professor Warner's value-adding background is characterized by broad international business experience in project operations, management, as a vice president of an international consultancy company, Activision Inc. She has led or participated in a number of higher education conferences and corporate training workshops in several countries concerning issues such as strategic management and international business, with a focus upon senior management requisites of foresight and mindfulness. With a career spanning various continents and encompassing both academic and administrative roles, Professor Warner's contributions to the field of business education are both profound and far-reaching. Her commitment to academic excellence and her visionary leadership have left indelible marks on every institution she has been a part of, making her a respected figure in the global academic community. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Bernadette Warner, Deputy President of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, and she will tell us about the journey and how we got here. Professor Warner.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sutherland, and a pleasant good evening to everyone gathered here in the Sky Lounge. It's such a pleasure to see that. It's been years since we've gathered in this space. And to those persons who have joined us online, it's difficult to see how many persons are there. Can you say how many of us are online? How many? 40? Yes. So the 40 participants online, we warmly welcome you. I would also like to recognize the Honorable Purmel Charles. We thank you so much, Minister, for joining us today, for giving Dr. Charles such a pleasant surprise. She had no idea the Honorable Minister was joining us. To Dr. Winston Adams, our Group Executive Chairman and founder of the UCC and Spectrum Groups. Mrs. Geraldine Adams, the Deputy Executive Chairman of UCC and Spectrum Groups. Professor Colin Giles, our beloved President. Professor John Fulton, who is online as Research Director of UCC. We have with us Dr. Sheila Paul, our Vice President for Academic Affairs. And because we are such a small gathering, allow me a moment to introduce some of the executives at UCC so we get to know each other better. We also have sitting next to Dr. Paul, Mr. Leon Rooms, our Director of Finance. Behind Mr. Rooms, or almost behind him, is Dr. Audley Darmond. He is the Vice President for ICT, Dr. Darmond. Dr. Charles is the Dean for the School of Humanities, Behavioral Sciences, and Law. Dean Davidson is just behind Dr. Charles, the Dean for the School of Business Management and Entrepreneurship. I'm probably going to mess it up a bit. Dr. Ndasher from the School of Mathematics and IT, and next to him is the HOD, Mr. Osborne. We have also Mrs. Lorna Baxter, who is the Senior Director for Human Resource Management and Development. Dr. Dawkins, all the way in the back, the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Academic Administration. We have Mrs. Lawrence, the Accounts Manager, and I know we have Ms. Donna Hunter. I need to introduce Donna to you because she is Chief Representative for the recruitment team today. So all the prospective students, Ms. Hunter is the person you want to talk with, and her colleagues who have joined us. So all the members of the Board of Directors, all heads of department, faculty, staff, prospective students. May I see by the show of hands how many prospective students have joined us? Raise your hands, please. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Let's give them a warm welcome, really. We're so happy to have you. Because we will be speaking directly to you today. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. So to share the history of this program or these programs, I want to start by saying that the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean is very much about the adage, you must be before you are. Those of us who have grown up at UCC for the past 10 years would know what I mean, but let me share a little more detail. In 2018, UCC embarked on a journey of launching 2 doctoral programs. Despite institutional accreditation, only to offer academic degrees up to the master's level. Ever the innovative institution, we partnered with the like-minded University of Sunderland in Northern England to implement this plan. So following a rigorous quality assurance review from the University of Sunderland approval panel, UCC was then deemed to have satisfied the requirements to participate in delivering the professional doctorate and the Doctor of Business Administration, a process which ran from July 2018 to October 2019, once the programs were officially launched. The philosophy then, as it is now, was to offer our commitment or to reflect our commitment to meeting the needs of working professionals who seek to advance their careers without disrupting their professional responsibilities and indeed their personal lives. So we did this by providing flexible, research-intensive programs, and in so doing, we hoped to create opportunities for individuals to obtain these advanced research-oriented degree programs. The intention to equip them with analytical and critical thinking skills necessary to drive innovation in business and academia. This addition to our graduate offerings then strengthens UCC's mission of providing high quality, accessible education tailored to today's professionals. This vision was equally shared by the UOS team, which was then led by Professor John McIntyre. He was the Pro-Vice Chancellor International at UOS, and Professor John Fulton, the Research Director at the University of Sunderland. And at UCC, Professor Dennis Gale, our then president, and myself led the charge. Our first cohort of students were extremely successful. Do we have present with us any of our graduates? Please stand. Please stand, give her a round of applause. And so Dr. Colin Darby, Keisha, you're Keisha, right? Yes. Dr. Renee Gravely, Dr. Garcia Green McLennan, Dr. Natasha Grant, and Dr. Keisha Christie Walters, Dr. Sefton Cummings. These were people who engaged in the program and graduated within 4 years of joining the program. I think that deserves a round of applause. And I'm sure when they speak to you, they will underscore something which I will share with you in this presentation. But many congratulations, and many of them traveled to Sunderland. Did you go? Yes, many of them traveled to Sunderland for their graduation ceremony at the expense of not joining us. It was timed at the same weekend with the UCC commencement, so they weren't able to cross the stage here. Well, when the partnership for delivery of the US programs at UCC ended last year, the alliance evolved into something better. Can you imagine something better? Professor John McIntyre is now the Chancellor at UCC. Professor John Fulton is the Research Director at UCC. And with him, a lot of his colleagues who helped to manage the program from the University of Sunderland either already are visiting professors or will be helping to support the delivery of the program here at UCC. More than that, we have developed the capacity to design and implement our own doctoral programs, having worked so well with our colleagues at the University of Sunderland. The University of the Commonwealth Caribbean is evolving as an increasingly highly regarded institution of higher education. And those of you who join us, you represent part of this exciting further development. The Doctor of Business Administration and the Professional Doctorate will draw together state-of-the-art in professional practice with relevant academic theory and apply this to the creation of problem solutions and change management within the student's own workplace. So the research that our students do will be research that is based within the organization in which you work. Talk about being relevant. That's what we do. So students are expected to be able to appreciate the importance of being able to consider issues and problems from a variety of perspectives, and where appropriate, draw theory from different academic disciplines to synthesize ideas and develop pragmatic solutions. Are there employers with us in the space? Any employers who are here simply because you are an employer? Well, I have a special message. All employers of participants in this program should feel very proud of the staff who engage, because, as I said, the intention is to offer pragmatic solutions to organizational challenges based on cutting-edge research. In due course, the vision is to create a hub here at UCC using our doctoral programs to create research for organizations, government institutions within Kingston and Jamaica to help to solve problems that these organizations and institutions face. Some of this, we hope, will be funded research even. So we become a small Harvard in Kingston. Can you imagine it? Because we want to be relevant. Yes, thank you, Professor Giles. Absolutely, that's the vision. So we're not going to stop at just helping students to build their career aspirations, but we want to build the aspirations of organizations within the space. Apart from the taught modules, we want to establish this with you as well. Monthly seminars will be hosted on campus to allow you the opportunity to meet with your peers and facilitators, to present your research ideas, to receive feedback, and to remain connected. So we're not going to leave you out there, tell you join the program, meet with a colleague when you can, find a supervisor when you can. No, everything is going to be scheduled. And every month you will be in this space on this floor, meeting with your peers, meeting with your facilitators, so that we can support you. You're going to have several questions. You will be doubting yourself along the way. You'll be nervous about the process, but we'll be there, literally holding your hand through. So I am sure you will rise to the challenge, and you will take full advantage of the professional opportunities available to further educational and career development here at UCC. And we have no doubt that in due course, you will make a significant contribution, not only to your own organizations, but to Jamaica and the rest of the world. So many congratulations to those of you who will be joining us in this program. We truly look forward to receiving you as our students, and many blessings to everyone in the space and online. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Warner, for taking us on that journey that has brought us here today, and also for outlining to those prospective students who sometimes believe, oh my God, this is such a daunting thing, what am I doing? But I think with Professor Warner outlining the support that you will receive at UCC when you embark on this journey, I'm sure you have been comforted. So now we're going to be having our address by the Honorable Minister. But before we do so, I would like to invite Dr. Sheila Paul, Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, to introduce our minister.
Dr. Winston Adams, OD, JP, Founder and Group Executive Chairman, UCC Spectrum Group. Mrs. Geraldine Adams, Deputy Group Executive Chairperson, UCC Group of Companies. Professor Colin Giles, CD, PhD, President, UCC. Professor Bernadette Warner, PhD, Deputy President, UCC. Dr. Yvonne Dawkins, Associate VP for Student Affairs and Academic Administration, UCC. Dr. Andrea Sutherland, Dean, School of Graduate Studies and Research, all members of the media, all members of the Board of Directors, all heads of departments, all members of faculty and staff, and our students. It is my distinct honor to introduce to you a remarkable student and an exemplary leader, the Honorable Purnell Charles Jr., Member of Parliament and Minister of Labor and Social Security. Minister Charles is no stranger to service, with a career that spans multiple high-profile ministerial portfolios. Prior to his current role, he has ably served as Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, and Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He also played a pivotal role in national security matters during his tenure as Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security. A two-time Member of Parliament for Southeast Clarendon, Minister Charles brings to his role not just political experience, but a strong legal background as an attorney at law qualified in both Jamaica and the United States. He has served as judicial clerk, senior clerk of court, crown counsel, and managing attorney of his own law offices, all while maintaining a passion for community advocacy and youth empowerment. An alumnus of the University of the West Indies with double honors in biochemistry and zoology, as well as law, and a Master of Laws from the George Washington University, where he was awarded the prestigious Thomas Bergenthal Scholarship. Minister Charles exemplifies academic and professional excellence. He continues to champion causes for the most vulnerable, serves as chairman of the UNESCO Youth Advisory Council, and remains a respected voice in matters of national development and social upliftment. Please join me in warmly welcoming to the stage the Honorable Purnell Charles Jr., MP, JP, Minister of Labor and Social Security, as he delivers his address. Welcome.
And most importantly, Alicia's husband. I need dinner. It's very important. All of those things matter not when you go through the door. Let me say good evening. I had 3 events, including one at the Prime Minister's office, that were slated for today at the specific exact time. I won't tell you why I'm here. I'll leave that to you. But it is a pleasure to be here. Let me, of course, acknowledge Dr. and Mrs. Adams, of course, Professor Giles, Professor Warner, and the 120 doctors that I counted, of course, including this beautiful lady that I caught my eye when I came in. I haven't seen her blush like that for a while. She did not know that I was coming, and I was hoping nobody told her. But it's important to be here. I think that we have to start by speaking directly to the potential candidates who are determining whether they should perhaps select this. The answer is yes. We need you. Jamaica needs you. And what UCC has embarked on is going to contribute significantly and positively to the national development of your country. The reality is that we require thinkers, critical thinkers. I mean, we're trying to make adjustments at a very early stage, even in the primary level with PEP, to move our children towards more critical thinking. And advanced learning is what generates, it encourages, it fosters critical thinking. And so to those of you who are online, those who are perhaps determining exactly what they should do, just jump. We want you. I'm saying we like I'm a part of UCC. Well, I'm perhaps a part of UCC, yes. Yes, yes, yes. But I want to congratulate you, secondly. Congrats to UCC. Congrats for the obvious hard work and effort that you have put in, and for determining that this is an important element for you to have as an addition to the curriculum offerings. I know that many persons will see the Doctor of Business Administration and Professional Practice as an opportunity to advance their careers, and it's part of the new chapter of Jamaica's development journey. Right now, as a country, as a nation, we are seeing significant reductions in debt. These are things I speak about often with Andrea, but significant reductions in debt, historic low in unemployment, reductions now in poverty, increases and improvements in terms of wages, minimum wage, and across the board in the public sector. And the next phase of our development requires us to focus on productivity and competitiveness. And for us to do so, it will require Jamaicans to have advanced learning, because advanced learning is what will boost productivity, move us towards fostering innovation, and be able to really tackle the serious and complex issues that we have. And we at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security are, of course, focused on developing a resilient labor market. And we use the word often. What does it mean? It means a labor market that is aligned to the issues, the evolving issues that we're seeing in the future of work. A labor market that is equipped to drive us beyond just sporadic to sustainable growth. That growth where you see that bell curve. I use the word bell for a reason, but it's a specific curve which you know as academics. And for us to achieve sustainable growth, we have to continue to foster innovation, to empower our people. And again, I want to say a big, big congratulations to UCC and a full endorsement from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security for you taking all of the steps that are required to be able to offer this very important doctoral program or programs. Now, yesterday I had the opportunity at the Canadian Caribbean Leaders Dialogue to speak to a number of young professionals from across the world who came to Jamaica as part of that program. It's like a visiting leader program. So they came to Jamaica to meet with leaders, private and public sector, as part of their observation tour. And one of them asked a very important question. Young, bright, and he identified the challenges, what the government needs to do and what the country has to do and what the Caribbean needs, and CARICOM is not working, and what do we do? He said, Minister, the question is for you. I said, well, you are the answer. You are the answer. You're young, smart, educated, energetic, empowered. You need to not just be identifying challenges. You need to now be defining solutions. And the reality is, if we are going to equip our people to properly define the solutions that are going to assist this country and push this country, be the wind beneath our wings, then advanced learning, higher learning is critical. It is critical. And so we at the ministry have identified and we endorse it because we prioritize education and skills development as a means of ensuring Jamaica is globally competitive. Now, take for instance a senior healthcare official, a RN or even a doctor, or an administrator at a hospital who says to themselves, I want to do doctoral studies in professional practice. Now, that senior healthcare administrator is going to be exposed to organizational leadership, evidence-based theories. That person will be empowered with a skill set that would allow for them to learn about different ways, different comparative ways and analysis, measures and procedures to use data to be able to make better decisions. And that senior healthcare administrator that's learning at UCC will have to do doctoral research on a paper. And let us say that the paper is done on something important to all of us: reducing patient wait time at a public hospital. Critical, right? Yes? Oddly, don't go take that now and tell the people you know me. And I know you. So let's say that that's the paper: reducing patient wait times at a public hospital. And the doctoral research is done, and the paper is it published? Is that the right way? Published. And she now moves, or he, to do a pilot project. Let's say the person is at KPH. And that doctoral research, based on the UCC learning, now becomes a pilot project at KPH. And it is implemented at KPH and leads to a 38.27% reduction in patient wait time, 50% increase in staff efficiency, and a 150% increase in patient satisfaction. Now, that will catch the sight of a minister or a ministry. And what was UCC learning, moving into a doctoral research, moving into a pilot program, may very well be adopted across every hospital in the country. And so that's a simple pathway towards making national impact through higher learning. And I believe that if we have candidates that can identify national development issues in their respective fields, through these programs, we're going to have and we're going to see enormous positive national impact. And I'm looking forward to it. So let me just round up by again saying congratulations to UCC, by again indicating that the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, we support initiatives that elevate education. We support initiatives that empower our people. We support initiatives that expand opportunities for learning, particularly because we know that that is what's required if we're going to build a Jamaica where every learner can become a leader, and where education leads not only to employment, but to national empowerment. And that is critical. Before I close off, I must tell you, even in my own personal situation, I know of someone in particular who has gone through a lot of advanced learning, 2 master's degrees, which I suffered through as well, and a doctoral program. And you can see the impact. And this again is to those who are perhaps wondering whether it is worth doing. It's worth it. It's worth it. Not only for your own personal satisfaction, which is also very important. Some persons who are listening may not actually apply their doctoral studies in the same way. People are different. Whether it is for your own personal empowerment or something that you've always wanted to do, get it done. Because at some point, it's going to provide you with a platform to make a significant impact. Perhaps someday, somewhere, somehow, you'll end up being the dean of some big university, you know? So you just never know. You never know what can come of doctoral studies. Again, on behalf of the government of Jamaica, Professor, we want to congratulate you. We stand ready to continue to support UCC, and we will continue to work together to ensure that the specific nature of the programs continues to evolve. I'm looking forward to you moving beyond just 2 offerings, because with artificial intelligence now, and with the discussions that we are having globally in relation to the gig platform and the ever-changing scope of work, UCC is going to have to be on top of it in terms of really helping Jamaica to provide opportunities to mitigate against the brain drain, where persons have to see outside as the opportunity to advance their learning. We can do it right here, can do it at UCC. Congratulations. One love.
Thank you so much, Minister Charles, for your inspirational words. And when you talk about theory to practice, we got a plain example right there and then. So somebody could grab onto that and start doing the research, right? I can assure you that we are on track to do even more doctoral programs. So and of course we have a great dean who's going to make sure that that happens as well. I'd just like to invite you back so I could give you a little token from us. I'm going to call on my dean to do the honors for me. Dean of the School of Behavioral Sciences, Humanities and Law.
It is with great pleasure. On behalf of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, it is with great pleasure I present you with this small token of our appreciation for being here with us, celebrating with us the launch of our doctoral programs, and for the message that you've shared with prospective students. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What an evening we've been having so far, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful, really wonderful. Thank you so much, Minister. I mean, really, many times, persons, we don't make that connection between education and how we contribute to national development. So we really thank you for that message. So at this point, we are now going to invite Professor John Fulton, who is our Director of Research at UCC, and he's going to be telling us about the program. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Professor Fulton. Professor Fulton is the prime leader at UCC's doctoral program. He has over 30 years' experience in higher education. He's a strategic leader in his time. He has led universities in developing subject areas from zeros to heroes, focusing on quality outcomes at all stages. Professor Fulton is renowned in supporting students at the highest level from different cultures and subject areas. Today, he will demonstrate UCC's new doctoral programs, which are designed to incorporate his aim to be inclusive and supportive to all. And Professor Fulton will be joining us online. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll direct you to the screen right here. Thank you. Professor Fulton, welcome.
Welcome, and I'm delighted to be here with you. I just have to say I enjoyed very much the talks before me, and they're all very hard acts to follow, so don't expect that standard from me, because I'm going to just be very practical and talk to you about the doctoral programs, about the design, and about the commitment that people will need to make towards them. So if you just bear with me a moment, I'm going to share my screen because I've got some slides that just demonstrate some of the things I'm going to talk about. So I shouldn't be too long with this. So, can everybody see that okay? So I'm going to talk about our two programs, the Doctor of Business Administration and Doctor of Professional Practice, that we're going to offer to the University of the Caribbean. And firstly, I'll just point out the differences between the two. And basically, there's not really much difference. They're both the same programs, both have the same designs, both are at the same level, and both lead to the same outcomes. The main difference being that Doctor of Business Administration will be focused on those students who focus on business and management for their doctoral journey. And Doctor of Professional Practice encompasses the wider range of doctorates that people might do from a variety of professions. And of course, that's the key word, of course, is from a variety of professions, because both of these programs are work-based learning. And if you've heard earlier, they're very much about the application of theory to practice and the development of practice through that application. So I'm going now to talk in a bit more detail about what the programs involved and importantly, how we've structured the programs. So the first thing is, as I've said, the key focus of the programs are the focus on practice. So they're designed to help students apply the research to real-world problems. And that is, of course, applied research. People are conducting research within their own work environment, and they're focusing on organizational issues and developing that organization and developing that practice. And at the same time, of course, they're developing skills which are applicable to work, but are also transferable to a wider range of situations. And of course, what does it mean for people? What can people get out the program? Well, of course, as well as a lot of personal satisfaction and a lot of personal development, it can also lead to higher level management positions, executive leadership, and all sorts of other career opportunities. The level, well, it's the highest level of qualifications that's offered by universities. And often a question I'm often asked when I'm working with professional doctors are, how does it equate to a PhD? Well, it's exactly the same qualification as a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. Main difference being that the focus is here on practice and practice development, and it uses methodologies that are applicable to practice. So those are some of the key features of the programs. And of course, you'll be hearing more about them as your journey continues. Now, all programs have learning outcomes. That is, what are people able to do at the end of the program? And here are some of the learning outcomes. First thing is you'll be able to apply research skills to generate new knowledge or add to existing knowledge. And that's quite important because in all of the doctoral studies programs and in all individual programs, it's about getting that originality, about developing your practice and developing theory through that originality and through the research skills that you apply. It's also about being able to act autonomously and look at problems in a transformative and innovative manner. And I'm sure work and life brings problems all of the time. And that's being able to deal with problems creatively, transformatively, and innovatively through questioning, through the critical skills that people will develop. It's also about communicating effectively to a wide range of audiences. And again, that's important because it's one of the skills that people get from this program. And it's never ceased to impress me how people can apply, academic skills through journal articles at the highest academic level, through professional, dealing with everyday working professionals, being able to communicate with them, and often to the general public in both written and oral format in a way that's accessible to a wide range of audiences. Now, to be able to demonstrate the ability to just strategies, considering challenging and unforeseen problems. And again, that's one of the things that's never ceased to impress me about this program and working with students for a number of years on professional doctorate programs, is the fact that things crop up at work, things change, reorganization happens, government support, governments change and government support can stop. And at first it really worried me, how would people manage, all of a sudden what they were doing for the program, the floor was taken away from them. But without exception, every student has risen to that challenge and actually has come up with something much stronger than they had the first time. And then importantly, it's about being able to critically select an appropriate methodologically structured approach that's appropriate to a work-based issue. And that's, I think, one of the interesting things and one of the real developments of the professional doctorate is how people can develop methodologies, adapt methodologies to suit the needs of practice, which can be very different from other types of research. So those what people are able to do at the end. Now, one of the things that people always ask, and I think that's really quite important, people who want to do the program are working professionals. And they're busy professionals, have very busy professional lives. And I'm sure you all don't need me to tell you this, but people try to juggle both professional life, home commitments, all sorts of other issues that crop up in their life. And we take that very much into account in developing the program and also ensuring that the rigor maintains and facilitating people to be able to approach their work in a rigorous way is quite an important aspect of how we've structured the program. Now, I've worked with professional doctors over 20 years, and one of the things I've developed on that journey has been the sensitivity to students' needs. And that's why, this has evolved in my thinking over time. Now, I just want to pause for a moment because, as I said, I worked for 20 years in professional doctorates. And when I first started, I had a colleague, Professor Peter Smith, who was very inspirational, and I'd learned a lot from him. And sadly, I found out that he'd sadly passed away today. So I just want to spend a minute to remember him and the influence he's had on me. So, the program, how we've structured it is, now we've called it the support year, and this will be the first year. The program will start in October, and from October to September, there'll be a series of courses or modules. We've tried to avoid using the word modules because I think it quite often turns people off, because if you've been through an educational program, you're used to modules. So we're calling them courses, but it's just the same. With 4 courses there, which act as support courses. And the idea of these are to help people to develop their ideas and to be able to come to the research phase and hit the ground running. So they're well able to start and they don't have to rethink anything. They've thought their ideas and thought things through. And in subsequent slides, we'll talk a bit more about what each of these courses contain. Then we've got another 3 months at the end of this where we're going to look at data analysis, because one of the challenges we've found with people doing doctoral programs has been the analysis of data. And my experience has been a lot of people, and in fact this is a mistake I made when I did my doctorate, was rush out and collect data and then think, help, what will I do with it? So we want to make sure people are familiar with the techniques of analysis, and therefore when they come to start to collect the data, they can absolutely hit the ground running. And then the latter part of the next 3 years will be about people carrying out the research, collecting data, analyzing the data, writing up the data. So I'll talk a little more about what these involve. So as we said, average will be 4 years we expect in the course, and that's based on a lot of our experience with different students, especially our colleagues who are with us today. And it's 1 year support course, followed by data analysis workshops, and the remainder of the time is working with supervisors to carry out the research. So this is how it will work. It's not, so the first course is going to be looking at reflective practice, which is people will stand back, look at their workplace, look at what their problem area is, look at the target audience that they're going to deal with, look at how their professional area or their area of work deals with problems, methodologically what research is used, and then compare their own ideas with that. So it's about standing back, taking stock. Now, people will come with a proposal, with an idea of what they want to do, and they're taking that in reflective practice and developing that further. Then the next module is they're going to look at the best evidence that's about the area that they want to investigate and develop a systematic review where they're going to explore the best evidence and look at what that says and look at then again in the wider context of the literature so they're clear where that fits into the theoretical and academic development and discussion. Then this is my personal favorite, is the research methods module, where people will look at the methodologies and the methods that they think would be appropriate to answer the research question, the type of data they want, outline of how they'll analyze it, and then at the end of that year, they'll submit an updated research proposal that's very clear and focused about what they want to do. So as we said, the timings will be, the first course will be reflective practice, and that will be from October until end of December, beginning of January when they start the new module. As Professor Warner pointed out, we'll start with a 2-day workshop, and we've got all the dates here that people will get before they start, because we realise that's quite an important aspect when people come to do a programme, especially when it's work-based learning. And each month there'll be group tutorials where people will come in and work with their peers and look at where they're at and get that support that's so important to any programme, especially a doctoral study, which can be quite a lonely journey. So we want to build in that inbuilt support. Additionally, there were tutorials available for people individually with the course tutors when they begin to develop their assignments. And the same modules followed for the systematic review, and that's from January to March. Research methods, April to June. And then the last one, planning research, which I don't think I mentioned, was going to be in July to September. And that's about planning the research, looking in detail about how people are going to address each issue, looking at some of the important but wider issues like ethics, etc. And then they submit the revised proposal. So, support that's available. Well, when people are doing the talk component or the support course, each student will be supported by the course team, the teaching team. But additionally, each student will be given 2 supervisors who will work with them through the research phase and will have at least monthly meetings with the students, as well as the support tutorials will continue. Supervisors will be knowledgeable in the research area and will additionally have achieved training and supervision. There'll be a formal annual review each year to make sure things are on track from both sides, as well as from the point of view of making sure that the work is on track. We want also to make sure that people are getting the support that they need from the programme. And that's why it's important to take stock annually of what's happening. And the final outcome will be a submission of a 50 to 60,000 word thesis, which will be defended viva voce. And that, in a nutshell, is how the programme will work. Now, as we've said, we ran with the University of Sunderland previous cohorts, and some of the students have been phenomenally successful. And what I've just have here is some examples of the work that the students have done. Now, these aren't the titles of the thesis, but these are articles that we have in our edition of the UCC's journal, which will be very, very shortly, certainly within weeks, will be available in the public domain. And we have an article by Dr. Keisha Christie, who is present with you, and I'll tell you a bit more about her work. I'm sure you'll get the opportunity to talk to Keisha, and she's looking at tax avoidance by SMEs in Jamaica. We also have an article by Dr. Natasha Grant, who again was one of our DBA students, and she's shareholder focus to stakeholder focus and enterprise risk. And she's talking about the Jamaican banking sector. And again, both of these are extremely interesting articles. And we also have one by a student, Dr. Chris Jones, who wasn't one of UCC students, but is himself Jamaican. And he has looked at how creative strategies among Afro-Caribbean entrepreneurs, and his target was entrepreneurs in London, and how they, using creative strategies, how that could increase the impact of their work. So that, in a nutshell, is about the program, what's it's about. And you've got opportunities to answer questions. But importantly, you'll get my email address, and you've got other details of contact. And I think it's quite important that you know that any time you contact me with any queries, I often find that when I'm listening to talks, especially about a course or something I want to do, I think of the questions after the talk's over and after I've gone home. So please feel free to contact me if there's anything at all you'd like to find out about. So without further ado, I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Professor Fulton, for that detailed but succinct delivery about our doctoral programs. And I'm sure that many of, I was trying to speak to some persons earlier who came in, but I think you did such an excellent job that they're ready to sign up. So, as we said before, and as Professor Fulton just indicated, this is not a journey. It can be a very lonesome journey, but it is a journey that requires a lot of support. So we are going to have with us Professor Sheila Keogh, and she's also one of our visiting scholars at UCC and also integral to the graduate studies and the doctoral program. And she will be speaking with you about the path well traveled. Sheila Keogh has 30 years working in higher education with roles from executive administrative management to senior lecturer, working in business, health, engineering, and her baby, computer science, across 2 UK universities. While working in academia, Sheila developed techniques that supported students in their academic endeavors. She has published across high-level journals and in many conferences. So today, she hopes to convey some wisdom that will enlighten potential doctoral students listening here today. So Sheila, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'd just like to reiterate Professor Fulton's words. I'm following some really great acts here. So I'm very practical. And one of the things when I was putting together my thinking on what I would speak about, we talked about what it was like for other people. And one phrase that came out was, we'll leave no one behind. So this pledge has been made by many people in the past. United Nations have pledged by 2030 they're going to do certain things. Army forces across the world always pledge they will leave no one behind. And I want all potential students to emulate this commitment, and not only to actually emulate it, but to enjoy the journey that they will follow towards their graduate platform. The pathway to a doctorate award has been trodden by many thousands of students across the world. And for potential students, that doesn't make a difference because this is your first time, possibly. There may be some in the audience that's already got a PhD or a doctoral level program, but mostly it'll be your first time. So there's many books that have been written on reflections of what's it like to be a doctoral student. There's many journal articles. So therefore, we should just read the books. It should be easy. But then we wouldn't need universities if it was that easy. It's not that easy, as we know. I have written my notes because I don't want to miss it. So we know it's not easy. So we're going to give you more support than what's been mentioned already. Now, I've tried techniques over the years that I've been in academia and adjusted them, and they have worked, not just by small cohorts of students of 30 or 40, but I've had cohorts of students of 350 at one time, and it has worked with them as well as with the small cohorts. And one technique that came out called action learning. Now, this came out in 1945 and it was brought out for medical doctors. And medical doctors work in isolation a lot of the time, and they have problems which they are unsure how to solve. So what they did is they brought doctors together in what they called an action learning group, and they helped each other, not by coming up with the solutions, but by listening to each other and by saying, have you tried this action? Have you tried that one? So you're not saying it's a magic solution, but helping people with different avenues that they can go down. So that's the kind of thing that I want to actually do when you come onto your support days. So in your support course. So the first day, what I want to do is to put you all into action learning groups. They will not be exactly the same as what's in the book. It's been slightly adjusted. And I want you to actually, in these groups, you will be grouped according to what kind of study you want to undertake. And in these groups, you will actually design and commit to a code of conduct for your group. And again, I've got lots of experience with this. And sometimes one of the codes is that there will be a leader in the group each time you meet, and it may not be the same leader. And one great code that someone came up with was the leader at the next meeting will be the one who says the least at the current meeting. So that was a code which worked very well. So the students who are very shy, and sometimes they may be the ones that's left behind, is actually going to get an encouragement to actually change their shyness a little bit. So that's the first thing that I will propose to you. So from time to time, we will challenge you in these groups to actually carry out a discussion that will benefit you all in your doctoral journey, and then to present your findings as a group in a what I used to call, well, what everybody calls elevator presentation. So you have to summarize within a minute or 2 minutes, if I'm kind, what you want to achieve. And these are always great because summarizing is a skill, and it's a skill that you will have to do with all your academic papers. Although AI will do it for you as well now, but that's another story. But the team activities will not end when your support course ends, because I want you to support each other as peers throughout your journey. Yeah, so you will come to many milestones in your roads, and it will be an opportunity to celebrate together in that team. Yeah, and I want you to, none of you can be passengers on the team. You all have to drive the bus that you're traveling in. And I want you not to just drive your own growth, but to also drive the growth of the team forward. And in the process, as you travel down that well-trodden path, you will leave no one behind. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope it's given you some encouragement of the support we want to offer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Sheila. And I can attest to what Sheila has just said about the support and not leaving anyone behind. In my own journey, I had a young child, so it took me a little longer than my colleagues. But when they were finished, they came to me and they said, we'll help you read, we'll help you write, but you must finish. So it is very, very important that you have that support. Right? So as you think about your journey and as you meet your colleagues, you will begin to form that bond that is ever so important in completing such a program. And I'd just like to say, you know, we're really grateful to John and Sheila because where they are, I think it's about 2 a.m. Is it, Sheila?
It is.
2 a.m. And they stayed up to be with us. And I'm sure they will stay for the questions and answers
We will.
session.
We will.
Thank you so much. So now, another important thing we're going to talk about is MONEY, because of course, there, you know, but at UCC, as with everything else, there will be support. So I'm now going to invite Mr. Leon Rooms, our CFO, to come and speak with you about cost and how you can go through this journey and not be overly burdened financially. So Mr. Rooms, welcome.
Good night. I'll apologize in advance, my voice, but all protocols observed, Minister, President, team members, potential candidates, good night. Generally, you know, when it comes on, can you hear me better now? Okay, I think that works. All right. Generally, when it comes on to finances and programs such as these, people get, you know, a little concerned. You know, they may think, okay, you know, this might cost me an arm and a leg. But the truth is, sometimes it's not what you spend, it's what you get. And I know Dr. Sutherland would have intimated it. This program will come with benefits that will be unmatched by any program locally, without a doubt. Thank you, thank you. Firstly, let me just get to the cost. We have designed this program, we've gone out, we've looked, we're familiar with the local landscape, we're also familiar with the international landscape, and we're familiar with the programs that we previously offered. We have sought to ensure that we have provided top quality product, better than those that are in the current market, and for a price that cannot be matched. We will start this program off at 30,000 US dollars. I don't believe that anybody here can find a quality program for anywhere near that in this market. So again, UCC tops everything. We don't top you on the price. You know, that is where we'll settle. So, you know, we also recognize the dynamics of Jamaica. You know, we don't have a lot of money necessarily just sitting down waiting to do a program like this. And we understand that you're all professionals. You know, that's what we're geared at. We're looking for DBAs, you know, we're looking for business administrators, public policy persons. You know, the minister stated it. We're looking for thinkers, people who will change their industries, change, you know, starting at your business that you work in. You'll change that. That will then lead to change in the economy. Some of these changes may end up being global. So with that, we've taken into considerations, one, again, you'll have other considerations that you may have to stretch your hard earnings on. And as such, what we've done is we've tailored this program for us. And I say us because I probably will be in it as well. What we've sought to do is spread the program cost over the 4-year plan of this program. So essentially, we've ensured that you can pay $7,500 a year for the program. That should carry you through the 4-year program. And if you're not completed in the 4 years, there will be other considerations because there is a part of the program that requires us to, you know, engage our foreign parties. And, you know, unfortunately, nobody works for free. So with that said, though, we've also sought to recognize that within the Jamaican dynamic, 7,500 is also still a lot of money. So we've gone further to ensure that we will ensure that everybody has an opportunity to jump into this program. So what are we doing? We're breaking it down to quarterly payments. We will allow anybody that signs up for this program, and I don't want to sell it like a used car salesman, jump in now and you get this benefit, but, register now and this will be definitely for you. We will ensure that you can pay roughly $1,875 a quarter, and we'll break it up just like that. There will be a registration process, of course, each quarter to facilitate persons coming in. We believe that once, we've done the conversion, the truth is though, we're going to keep this in US dollars just to ensure that we don't have to constantly be changing the material, and, it's easier for you to keep a mental space of where you need to be. But that is what we're essentially offering. Each person will have that opportunity. Now, how does that benefit you? The truth is, when you do that, it's essentially UCC giving each person who comes in essentially a free 4 months. It's an interest free. So we're not putting any interest on the back end. It is set price divided by 4. As long as you pay it, that is it. Now, one of the things that I've recognized in my time here is that our recruitment department also works very closely with the Student Loans Bureau. Now, for persons, yes. So for persons who may want to engage us and who may want to start this program, we will be able to guide you there. Once you come in, we have a student services department that can guide you. We have our customer service. Once you get here, once there are any questions to do with finance, you will have somebody who can guide you along the process and ensure we will hold your hand. Professor Warren had mentioned it before. This is not a program that's going to just let you out. Similarly with finance, we're not just going to let you go and find your way. One of the things we're going to try and ensure is that we guide you through the process. We want to see critical thinkers leaving the university. It's important to us to get these people, get everybody along the path of research, because that is really what will drive our alumni, drive our university. Now, as it also relates to staff, we at UCC have provided for our staff, where we may have to hold back on certain things. As an educational institution, we have ensured that our staff has access to all our programs, and always at a good rate. So I want to say that this will be no different. I see some team members in the back smiling. They can't deny it, but yeah, I see them in the back smiling. So as it is now though, we're really going to push this to our team members as well. And, as I said, they're here, we can see them, and just to let everybody know, we will be guided by our current practices. We have very favorable terms that we provide our staff. But I also want the team to know that in addition to that, this being the inaugural program, us starting off, again, I know I might sound like a used car salesman, but if you sign up within this program, we will be offering other special considerations. We've been going through it. I don't want to announce that here and now because we're still trying to figure that out. But again, we're looking to engage everybody. 40 persons or more online, we'd like them to come in. Our team members here, we'd like them to come in. Both academic staff, finance staff, I see here, and everybody. So we're just looking for this to be an all-inclusive program. And as I said, what we're trying to do is make sure that we produce not just a top-notch product, but also an affordable top-notch product. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rooms. So you see, the support is not just academic, it is everywhere at UCC. Now, if you did not believe us about all the things that happen and what happens when you go through a doctoral program, and most importantly, the benefits and the impact it will have on your lives, we have two testimonials today, two persons who have successfully completed their doctoral program when we have the partnership with University of Sunderland. We have online Dr. Sefton Cummins, and we have with us Dr. Keisha Christie. So I'm going to first ask Dr. Cummins online, and then I'll ask Dr. Christie to come to the podium, and then she will be able to field some of your questions about the journey. So Dr. Cummings.
Thank you, Dr. Sutherland. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Minister for Labor and Social Security, the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., President Colin Giles, and the entire team at UCC. But let me specially acknowledge Professor Fulton, who would have been a real source of strength and support during my doctoral journey, and also my colleagues who, you know, would have shared this journey together. I'm delighted that so many of us were able to successfully complete the program. So for me personally, in 2019, I felt like my professional career has kind of plateaued, and I was faced with the difficult decision of transitioning to one of the other job opportunity that was presenting itself at that time, or to remain in my current area. I, after much thought, decided that I wanted to continue to contribute to the credit union movement, which I'm a part of. But if I was gonna remain, I wanted to help to make meaningful contribution, especially in helping to transition the credit union for the new regulations that we are expecting to come on board in short order. So with that background, I decided that it was necessary for me to pursue a doctoral study and to focus my research and the area I identified as was critical to the credit union movement. I had initially approached another university and was waiting for some response. And I was talking to a colleague at work, and she said that she saw an advertisement that UCC was starting their doctoral program through partnership with the University of Sunderland. So I applied. I was required to submit a research proposal. Unfortunately, I was told initially that I was not accepted into the program because my research proposal was not at the level that they were expecting. I think one of the reasons for that, looking back, was the fact that I had not engaged in any formal study for well over a decade. But members of the team at UCC reached out to me and gave me pointers in how to amend the adjustments that I needed to make to my research proposal. I did so, resubmitted, and I got into the program. Of course, I went in with a lot of anxiousness, not certain of how I would progress in the program. Uh, for me, the anxiousness was mainly because, as I said, one, I wasn't engage in any formal study for well over a decade, and the fact that I am heavily invested in the financial area. So I'm very comfortable with figures and analysis of um, data. But in terms of writing at a doctoral level, I wasn't sure that I was prepared for that. But I really appreciate how the program was structured, especially the thought element of the program. It provided me with the confidence that I needed to launch into the research phase. And also from the program, the module were so designed that you first had to really do some amount of reflection to kind of find out who you are as a researcher, and reflect also on the area you wanted to make a contribution in, and to make sure that there were some amount of synergy there. And also in that phase, the modules were quite practical. So when you engage with the different modules, you were all so engaging or having a pretty good idea as you work through the module as to what you will do in terms of narrowing down your area of research. And so I find the thought module very, very helpful. For me, looking back, there are a few things I really appreciated about the program. We were assigned 2 supervisors, and based on my experience and interacting with colleagues who were in other programs, that was kind of unique. So I'm also happy that Prof. Fulton pointed out that that same model will be used, even though it will no longer be a partnership between UCC and the University of Sunderland. And I also found that, Prof. Fulton was very, very accessible, and that provided a lot of the support that I needed to move successfully through the program. One of the other thing that was said, and it was also said earlier this evening, is that the doctoral journey can be a very lonely experience. I didn't want to have to go through the program and feeling lonely and not engaging with the other members of my cohort. So for me, I developed close friendship with Dr. Keisha Christie, Dr. Garcia, and that friendship that we fostered even throughout the program, has remained, and we continue to network on several levels. So it is an opportunity for you as you get into the program to develop good friendship, professional relationship. I heard the minister saying that, at some point your doctoral study will, outside of your for personal actualization, it will be very useful. For me, that's one of the final takeaway, because the program was so focused, and because you were forced to seriously do some amount of reflection and think seriously about the area you wanted to make an impact as a professional. I have been able, since I have completed the program, to make some changes based on the study in my community of practice. And I have been using my various platforms within the credit union movement to share aspects of my research with different senior managers, you know, who have been making adjustment at their different levels. So the study is very focused on your community of practice, and you will be able to make meaningful impact. For me, looking back, initially I I had no idea what I was getting into. The doctoral program proved to be one of the most challenging experience in terms of study, but also one of the most rewarding. And one tip I would give to prospective doctoral student, one of the thing that you have to do is to be very, very disciplined, to engage with your study several times per week. For me, I spend at least 2 hours for 4 or 5 days every week engaging with my research, even if I'm not directly looking at my research area, just reading articles, you know, so I know what was happening in my area of practice. But at the end of the journey, you know, you will be self-actualized and you will definitely be making meaningful impact. I personally want to thank the UCC team for coming up with such a program initially through the partnership with Sunderland University. I know that I would not have completed the program within 3 years if it was not for the support that I would have received through my course of study. So you will have a lot of questions, you will feel anxious, but rest assured that most of the persons who are now offering this program are the same persons who were there from the beginning of that relationship with Sunderland University, and you will be able, with their guidance, to successfully complete your course of study. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no further questions, I think at this point it's for me to thank everyone. You know, it is really a privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks. On this very special occasion, our official launch of the UCC's doctoral program, and such a huge milestone for our university, you know, and this stage of our growth and development as we continue our journey of academic excellence, innovation, and opportunity. And, you know, one of the things we learn in life, one of the first lessons I learned in life is that the only constant thing is change. So as we change, we grow, we innovate. First, our heartfelt thanks to our guest speaker, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labor and Social Security, for his invaluable contribution. I think, you know, making us understand the importance of terminal degrees and how we can really apply them to industry and national development. Really very insightful. And so, you know, your presence here has made this evening a memorable success. Thank you, sir. Heartfelt thanks to our president, Professor Giles, for his warm welcome. His leadership and commitment in excellence is what brought us here today. Thank you, Professor Giles. Professor Warner, our deputy president, for providing the context and to guide our understanding of how we got here and why this was such a wonderful event this evening. She has already left, but we thank her. Professor Fulton, who is responsible for the development of our curriculum, and Sheila Keogh, whose their dedication and their collaborative effort and spirit have made this launch possible. Your efforts are greatly appreciated, and Sheila, for your inspiration and really for keeping it real, right? Because it has to be real. You know, it sounds good and you're going to do your doctorate and all that, but it, you know, we have to keep it real. So thank you so much for that. To our academic leaders at UCC, Professor Sheila Paul, Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs, who works tirelessly and energetically to get us to where we are today. Dr. Yvonne Dawkins, Associate Vice President of Student Affairs and Academic Administration. Our deans, our heads of departments, for all your invaluable support and advice that brought us here today. To our graduates, Dr. Cummins and Dr. Christie, for sharing your stories, your reflections. Were not only inspiring, but also powerful reminders of the impact on our lives when we invest in ourselves, in our education. And you know what that means for us, not just transforming us, but transforming a nation. And all the people who created this great ambiance where we are here today, Mr. Richard Mitchell and his team from the marketing department. You know, I was very nervous today, and they're like, it's okay, we're going to get it done. So I really thank them, you know, to Lisa, tirelessly working today to make sure we had everything right. The staff, the staff in the College of Graduate Studies and Research, you know, for helping with the detailed planning and execution of this event. The teams from the operations department over there, Mr. Malcolm and Mr. Linton, for ensuring today's event ran smoothly, and for the beautiful ambience, logistics, communications, and the mouth-watering refreshments that we're going to be having when we wrap up this formal segment of our event. And you know, just to thank everyone for their behind the scenes work that is often unnoticed, but without which we would not be here this evening. Members of the UCC family, all faculty, administrative, technical, and ancillary staff, a big thank you. And also thank you all for being here, for putting up with us, and for listening to us and showing your appreciation. And also to our online audience, thank you so much. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to have some refreshments with us. The Stamp and Go, they're awesome. So oh, and if you need additional information, there's a QR code on your brochure that will lead you to some additional information, and also at our website, UCC at ucc.edu.jm. Thank you. Oh, and the recruitment team is in the back, and they're waiting to give you additional information. Thank you very much. Refreshments are in the back.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.